Good morning, everyone. Today's Wednesday, November the 21st, and this is the futures in 5. Taking a look at the ES. If we go all the way to the edge here, we can see support zones holding deep, deep edges. We're at a do or die space. If we don't hold this edge, it becomes a broken form that's going to give us lower lows. And so, what we're trying to do is hold the bounce, but the bounce is really fairly timid. And so, what we have to do is get up and over 2671. And if we can spike up there and then pull back and hold this main volume line, which really is, oopsie, yeah, I'll do that right there. This main volume line is somewhere around this congestion zone, 2655, 2652, something like that. If we pull back and hold this range, it could be really all the way to 2648, we will have ourselves a little bit of a relief bounce. I like to call this an S curve, where it moves from an area of support and then tests as an area of resistance. We could go all the way to the pocket of low volume here in this low volume node. That's what they're called. Or we could move right into old price acceptance that might turn into price rejection. So what we're doing is watching that space very intently. My thought is pullbacks or buy zones. Yesterday I thought we would stage a bounce. Instead, we had a very deep fade that then began to bounce. And so what we have to do is sort of think through what it is that we expect and then force that into taking a look at what time is doing there, because although many folks believe time is not quite as important, I really believe that it is. And so we have to take a look at those spaces definitively. All right, let's take a look at the NQ. You'll notice I have shortened the time frames also from 6 hours to 5 hours. Today we want to see a little bit of the motion. My gosh, they're hammering already. All right, and so we are looking at 5630. This is the last price acceptance zone that we went through. That's 65.80. Here's 65.30. Here's 65.80. If we can pull back and hold these regions, which we are going to pull back because that is old support, resistance. This is price rejection as we come up into the level. Pull back into the higher low. We're in good shape. This one is, man, it's in trouble. It is really, really broken. If you take a look at what momentum tells us, the last time we had any real support in the broad motion here is all the way up at 68. We're 200 and something points below that. Let's take a look at the YM, also holding its edges there into a price acceptance region, but slipped into the low volume node of this prior formation. And so now we're up here at the next level of resistance. What did we do? We rejected it. And so we are sitting in that space. If we can get up and over that level, we're going to go really, notice how thin the auction profile is here. You can't even see it. It's that thin. You'd have to look at a much tighter time frame. So this faded on a very thin pocket of volume. That's going to push it back up through the auction profile. My thought is we could really get all the way back up into this area. It depends. We have to watch. Today is a really important day mechanically. I think it's a do or die day. And so if we can't hold this region, you know, we're heading down another 600 points. That's my thought anyway. Now, somebody put out an article, I think uh, yesterday, Jim Cramer had a really nice gal. Her name's Carly DeGarner. She, I think that's her name. Forgive me, I can't remember it. But she was on the show and was talking to him about what it means for oil to collapse this way and why oil collapses this way when people have to, make their margin calls. It doesn't really matter if you're upside down and you have nowhere else to go get your cash, you're going to have a margin call. And so that really is forcing this price down, but we really did level out, right? So we had this area where we had some negative news that allowed the market to bounce. And so now what are we looking at? Here's this edge. I always show it. It looks like an inverted head and shoulders, and it really isn't in terms of measured motion. What it is, though, is the way charts look when they reverse. This is a shoulder event. This is the head event. What's it got to do? It's got to get past the shoulder, bounce into the region, pull back, and hold the shoulder event, or it's still got more downside. I think this is critical mass, so we're going to watch it fade, and then if it comes back into this little thin pocket of auctioning, it'll move up and hold the level, come into the next pocket of auctioning, and we'll stair step our way up. Lastly, we'll take a look at gold. This has been the one firing off. My thought is that gold is sitting at sort of a resistance edge simply because I do think that the market is going to try and bounce. Now, again, you have to be very careful how you think about that. If, like I thought about the market bouncing yesterday, the first thing you have to look at is, does it hold support? If not, you know that bounce is not now. So if this actually holds up and out over the area, what it's going to do is fade, hold this zone, which is a very thin uh, bell curve, and then we'll watch it pop back up through the edge and then rotate forward. 1233 to 1236.70, really areas of potential motion that we have. My thought is old support, resistance, lower low, new test of resistance. It's going to come in and make its shoulder. That's what it's got to do. Now, the fact that it's having a lower edge right here says that we could sit in quite a bit of congestion. But today is going to be a very interesting day. Good luck trading.